Hey gang, welcome to Found Flicks. You know, I think the reason I personally am against most remakes is that there's simply no need. The original movie got things right in the first place, so why bother trying to remake it or updating it with fancy new special effects? But on the other hand, every now and then, the original version of a movie just plain sucks, and so they actually should be remade, as the first attempt simply didn't do the idea justice. And that is definitely the case with 1997's Spawn. It's one of those movies that fails so spectacularly and on so many levels, it's almost impressive. It feels dated beyond its years with a cheap look, especially in the opening act, that makes it feel more like I'm watching a direct-to-video Steven Seagal movie. And the garbage visual effects don't do the film any favors either. It would be one thing if there were only a couple shots that stick out, but literally every shot with computer graphics is an absolute eyesore. And then we have whatever that thing is supposed to be, some kind of a rat demon or some shit. Whatever it is, I hate it. But despite all its major faults, some things did work, and John Leguizamo as the Violator is actually kind of incredible. And at least the soundtrack is full of hot 90s jams. So it's for all these reasons that Spawn is in desperate need of being redone on the big screen. It's a really great dark story with an interesting twist on a standard superhero, and it deserves better than the crap we got in the original. Back in '97, it makes sense they'd still have to tone down some of the darker elements to make it a more mainstream movie. But now, thanks to the recent success of darker R-rated superhero movies like Deadpool and Logan, it seems like there's a better chance for us to see a more faithful adaptation of the comic and finally see Spawn done right. It feels like now more than ever is the perfect time for a new Spawn. And luckily, series creator, the legendary Todd McFarlane, is aware of this too, and is working on a new hard R-rated big screen version of Spawn, describing it last week at the Emerald City Comic-Con as more akin to a horror, supernatural thriller. If here's PG-13, and here's Deadpool, and here's Logan, we're going to be here. If those movies are nowhere near hardcore enough, it sure sounds like Spawn is going to be pretty damn dark then. And maybe without creative restrictions to pull back, we'll be able to really see McFarlane's original artistic vision on screen for the character for the first time. That's why he's interested in keeping the budget low, in order to maintain more creative control, and even hopes to direct the film. Basically, I can make this version of the movie on a budget without crazy special effects. I want to keep it small, keep it tight, so they'll let me direct it. He first detailed this newer low-budget horror-centric take last year at the New York Toy Fair, saying Spawn's presence in it will be kept more in the shadows, referring to this version of the character as the Boogeyman. In the background, there's this thing moving around, this Boogeyman. That Boogeyman just happens to be something that you and I know is Spawn, he explained. Will he look like he did in the first movie? No. Will he have a super villain he fights? No. He's going to be the Spectre, the Ghost. Wow, so it already sounds drastically different than the '97 version, and will be a new take on the character we haven't seen in any form. I'm glad McFarlane wants to move further away from the standard superhero style that inspired the comics. It's really smart of him to make Spawn more like a presence, and it will make him have even more impact when he does actually appear. McFarlane goes on to further expand this Boogeyman concept. He's this thing that just whooshes in, this ghost that moves in and will fuck you up if you're in the wrong place in the wrong time. And the rest of the movie will look real and be this real drama. He's just this ghost, this thing behind it. And he describes the overall tone of the movie as The Departed meets Paranormal Activity, but without the visual effects. Here's my $11 for a ticket, because that sounds amazing. The idea of it being a story strongly influenced by Spawn is a good way to have his presence felt throughout the movie, as his actions will no doubt drive the story, but also without him having to always be on screen. As far as how into production the project really is at this point, McFarlane does have a completed script, but is currently editing it down to a more manageable length before sending to studios. It's 183 pages, and producers usually like 120. I still think it's going to end up being about 140 because I'm putting in details for myself. 183 pages? Holy crap, McFarlane, that's like a 3-hour Spawn movie. And once he finally gets a script in place, I think there's only one studio he should bother contacting: Blumhouse. They're the kind of company that would let McFarlane do what he wants, but they are still smart enough to take into account how to make something audience pleasing. It seems like a perfect relationship that would finally give us the version of Spawn we've always been wanting to see. What do you guys think of McFarlane's ideas for a new big screen version of Spawn? And who would you like to see play him? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching Found Flicks. See you next time.